How's it going, everybody? So, new review for you guys today. We're talking about the latest film from Quentin Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino is just one of those directors that anytime he puts out anything, I have some level of interest in. And I was really fascinated with this one as well because it's like this historical fantasy set in the golden age of Hollywood during the Manson murders. And just that whole concept of this whole historical fantasy, because it's obviously not going to be completely historically accurate. It's kind of like in the same vein as like Inglourious Bastards, where there's some historical things and real people, but it's definitely very fictionalized. Full disclosure, this is a spoiler-free review, but there is just so much to unpack that I really can't talk about in depth because it's all spoilers. This film is very long and there's a lot going on, so it's going to be spoiler-free, but I may make a spoiler review later on in the week once the movie gets seen by more people so I don't spoil anything. But I just want you to know that because I'm going to try and keep things vague in some parts. But yeah, I really love this film. You can tell that Quentin Tarantino has a lot of love for the old school style, classic Hollywood, and just the film industry, especially back then. It's just so cool seeing this authentic golden age Hollywood brought to life. Of course, not everything can be historically accurate. I think this is definitely more of a historic fantasy fairy tale. I mean, it's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's, once upon a time and you think fairy tales. It's an embellished version of that era, but it's still very well done, very authentic, and I really just liked seeing that era put to screen. I'm also generally not one to talk about soundtracks in films all that often, but the soundtrack in this film is just amazing. It's probably one of the best soundtracks of anything I've seen in 2019. It just really captures the essence of the time period so well in this late 1960s Hollywood that I highly recommend you check out the soundtrack for this film as well because it's really well done. Like many Quentin Tarantino's films, he has assembled quite an amazing cast. You got Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Kurt Russell, Al Pacino, and many more. But I think that the best performances probably were from Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. I think this is some of the best material they've been given in a long time. Definitely one of the best performances I've seen from Brad Pitt in a while, either him playing Leonardo DiCaprio's stuntman on this Western. I really just wasn't expecting that. I never would have expected saying in a film that Brad Pitt's playing Leonardo DiCaprio's stuntman, but I just love their dynamic. They have really great chemistry, and they get some really amazing moments together, especially towards the later half of the film. Of course, the casting of Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate's kind of one of the more controversial things because Sharon Tate and her tragic demise, but the very small amount of screen time that she gets on screen, she really does shine in the role. Don't expect too much of her in the role. I think that's one of the things that are going to be disappointing to some people is that she's not like a very big integral part of most of the film, but in the very few parts she's in, she's still a great actress. Also, it's probably just me because I'm a big martial arts film fan, but I also thought it was really cool that Mike Ma playing Bruce Lee. I think he did a really good job in that role playing Bruce Lee, and just seeing him come to life on screen, facing off against Brad Pitt and people like that was just so cool. I almost was like reveled in the whole fact that it was Bruce Lee brought to life again on the big screen. But it was just a very minor role, but it's definitely one of the better supporting cast characters because there's like a huge amount of other people I didn't name in the cast, but that's probably one of my favorite supporting characters. The film is fairly long. It's a little under 3 hours long. Many Quentin Tarantino films are pretty long, but I think you're going to be interested enough in the story and its mystery unraveling that it's going to keep you engaged throughout, especially once that third act hits and it gets pretty, I guess, the zany or crazy is the right word to use because most Quentin Tarantino films, especially the last couple, have gotten pretty wild in the third act, and this is no different. I know Quentin Tarantino and his style of filmmaking isn't for everyone, but if you're a fan of his, I definitely think this is another great addition to his filmography. If you're a casual moviegoer, I think you'll get some enjoyment out of it at some level. It may not be for you, but I think if you're into his style, you're definitely going to like it, but definitely give it a chance. It's definitely a must-see experience on the big screen. It's definitely in my top 10 so far of 2019. Of course, we still have a fair amount to go until the end of 2019, but right now it's definitely in my top 10. I'm not sure where I'd rank it among the other many films in Quentin Tarantino's filmography. I'm just going to sit on it for a bit, but let me know in the comment section down below, what did you think of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood if you've seen it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you looking forward to it? If you haven't seen it, it comes out at the end of this week. Also, definitely let me know in the comment section down below, what are your favorite Quentin Tarantino films? It could be anything. It could be Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Hateful Eight, Django. I mean, there's so many different choices to choose from, so I'm sure that everyone has a different favorite. But let's definitely get a discussion in the comments going, because I like talking about all things movies here. But thanks so much for checking out the review for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a like, hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up with my movie reviews, trailer reactions, unboxings, and more. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.